Hey guys, welcome back. Today is Wednesday, April 18th, and we're going to be talking about circumference. So, just a couple of quick things. Tomorrow we're going to have a quiz. Friday is going to be a quick review day, a couple of quick review problems, and then an opportunity to make sure you've turned everything in and just kind of reviewing your notes. And then keep in mind that instead of a test on this chapter, we're going to do a floor plan, and there will be more information coming soon about that. So today you will need a calculator. So if you don't have a calculator, go ahead and grab one. You can multiply these things out by hand if you don't have a calculator, but it would be best to have one. So let's get started. Today we are going to develop an understanding of the relationship between the diameter and the circumference of a circle, calculate the circumference of a circle using a formula, calculate the diameter of a circle given the circumference, relate circumference to real life situations. All right. So circumference is simply the distance around a circle. You could think of it like the perimeter around a circle. So you can use a calculator to find the circumference. We will always use 3.14 to represent pi. Okay, so pi is simply a ratio that we use to help us find circumference. And the ratio is 22:7, but that's not something you'll necessarily need to know. You need to know that pi, when we round it, is 3.14. You will need to memorize these two formulas. So the first formula is circumference equals pi times diameter. Okay, so it's important to know the C stands for circumference. And then pi, we're going to use 3.14. And then D equals diameter. Now again, if you don't know this yet, you need to memorize it. Diameter goes from one point to another and through the center. So it's that long straight line from one point to another and through the center. So if you're given the diameter, this is the formula you're going to use. Now our second one is circumference equals 2 times pi times radius. Circumference equals 2 pi r. We multiply it by 2 because the radius is half of a diameter. So remember, the radius goes from the center of a circle to a point on the circle. So if we're given a radius, to find the circumference, the distance around the outside, we're going to do 2 times 3.14 times the radius we are given. So let's do some examples. Here's our first example. We are given a diameter. Again, you have to know the difference between a diameter and a radius. So when it shows that the line goes all the way through the circle, that's a diameter. So we're going to use the formula circumference equals pi times diameter. We know that pi is 3.14. We're going to memorize that. So we're simply going to do 3.14 times 3. You can put that in your calculator. You can also just multiply it out. And you would get that the circumference equals 9.42 inches. And again, we talked about this yesterday. We're going to make sure we label these correctly. So this is what it looks like when we're given a diameter. That means the straight line all the way through. We're just going to multiply what we're given times 3.14. Okay, let's do another example. When you're given the radius, so notice the difference here. We have our point in the center to the outside. This is a radius. Have to know the difference between a radius and a diameter. When we're given the radius, we're going to do 2 times 3.14. That part's always going to be the same for a radius. This is the part that changes. So we were told that our radius is 4 centimeters. So we're going to do 2 times 3.14 times 4. And that gives us 25.12 centimeters. I would definitely enter things a couple of times into the calculator. If your calculator has the pi sign, please don't use that. It might change how you round it. So because not everyone has a calculator like that, we're going to use 3.14. Okay, so again, you'll need to memorize both of those formulas, and you will need to know the difference between diameter going all the way across and radius going halfway. All right. That's it for our notes today. Now, just because the notes are short doesn't mean that the information is necessarily easy. I want you to pause and complete pages 240 and 241. We're doing 1 through 3 all, so 1, 2, 3, 9, 10, 11, 13, 14, 15, 16, 19, and 20. Pause and come back, and we'll go over these together. All right, guys, let's talk through these. On number 1, we're given a diameter. It goes all the way across. So you should have done 3.14 times 6 equals 18.84 centimeters. Number 2, you were given a radius. So you needed to do 2 times 3.14 times 4.5, and that equals 28.26. If you're getting these wrong, write down what you should have done and look back through it. Number 3, we're given a radius. So you should have done 2 times 3.14 times 10, which equals 62.8. Now, on 9 through 16, we skipped one of them, I believe. Yeah, we skipped number 12. So you were either finding the circumference, or if it wasn't a circle, you were finding the perimeter. So a little bit of review. On number 8, you were given the diameter. So 3.14 times 8 equals 25.12 yards. Number 10 was also the diameter. So you should have done 3.14 times 3.5, and you would have gotten 10.99 meters. Number 11 was a radius. It only goes halfway through. So because it only goes halfway through, we multiply it times 2. 2 times 3.14 times 2.7 equals 16.96 centimeters. 13, a radius. So we multiply it by 2. 2 times 13 times 3.14 equals 81.64. On 14, we had a regular hexagon, 6 sides. All sides are 4 feet, so you could have just done 6 times 4 equals 24 feet. On 15, we have a rectangle, just adding up all the sides. Now, just because 2 sides are given doesn't mean you don't still add up all the sides. We know with a rectangle that the opposite sides are the same, so we needed to add those all twice. 6 plus 2 plus 6 plus 2 equals 16 centimeters. And then on 16, you were just carefully adding all of those up, and you got 125 meters. On 19, you were given a radius, a word problem with a radius, so we're still multiplying times 2 since you were given the radius, and you should have done 2 times 3.14 times 4 equals 25.12. And on number 20, you were given a diameter, so we just needed to do 3.14 times 60 equals 188.4. All right, guys, so again, it's really important. Here's the super important things from today. You need to know the difference between a diameter, goes all the way through the circle, and a radius just goes halfway. And then you need to memorize those 2 formulas. At this point, with lots of practice, you're going to naturally memorize it. But your circumference, if it's the diameter, we just do pi times the diameter we're given. Use 3.14 times your diameter. And then for the radius, if it just goes halfway, right, this should make sense. We multiply it by 2 because technically that tells us what the diameter is. So when you're given the radius, it's 2 times 3.14 times the radius. If you have any questions, please make sure that you're coming to Math Help. Quiz tomorrow. So make sure you have really good notes that you can use on the quiz that make sense to you. So Math Help, Tuesdays and Thursdays at 1 o'clock. You just put Math 1 in the meeting code. All right, guys, let me know if you have any questions.